Hello again. One of my favorite passages in the New Testament is chapter 21 of John's Gospel. It's unusual because it appears to have been added after the rest of the Gospel was written. This does not mean that this chapter is uninspired, even though it does seem to have been written at a later time than the rest of John. But it was included before the original publication of this Gospel and appears in all the ancient manuscripts of John. So John 21 seems to be an add-on chapter. And what's more, it doesn't fit in with the preceding chapter. Here's what I mean. After the scene in chapter 20, verses 24 to 29, the beautiful account of Thomas's doubts about the resurrection of Jesus, we have an obvious conclusion to the gospel. And here's what it says. Now Jesus did many other signs in the presence of his disciples that are not written in this book. But they are written that you may come to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that through this belief you may have life in his name. Now these two verses would seem to be the conclusion to the entire Gospel of John, but for some reason another chapter was added very early in the writing of this Gospel. And I'm glad it was, because it contains some powerful lessons, and I'll mention a few of these over the next couple of Fireside Chats. As chapter 21 opens, Peter and 6 other disciples of Jesus are at the Sea of Tiberias, and Peter announces to the others, "I'm going fishing." The others join him in the boat, and off they go. The first lesson I glean from these early verses is that Peter wants to return to something he knows well, fishing. Though in John's Gospel we find no call by Jesus for Peter to be a fisher of men, we can assume that he does know the trade because of the boat and the nets that he uses in this chapter. Why do Peter and the others go fishing? Because at this point, they don't know what else to do. Jesus, their friend and Lord, has been crucified, and they've been confused by the news that he has been raised from the dead and maybe even confounded by his appearances to them. So they regroup and go back to what they once knew before Jesus entered their lives. It's like venturing into the deep end of the pool for the first time. When you can't touch the bottom, you get back to shallow water as quickly as you can, where it's safe and familiar. You tried the deeper water because your friend was heading there, and you asked him or her, "What's it like?" And the friend said, "Come and see." You tried it, and it was scary, but from then on you knew you wouldn't be satisfied with the shallow end of the pool, and you tried again and again. And then when you cramped in 10 feet of water, you almost panicked, and that's when you went back to the safe end of the pool. I think Peter panicked when he was asked if he knew Jesus and then denied him 3 times. All the apostles were so frightened after Jesus' death that they hid behind closed doors, that is, the safe end of the pool. And then one day, Peter and 6 others were at the shore of the lake they knew well. It was familiar and safe, and so Peter said, "I'm going fishing." And the other one said, "Don't leave us here." So they all got into the boat and set out to fish. It's what they knew, and it's how they handled the confusion over Jesus' death and his appearances to them after the resurrection. Jesus Christ doesn't make us go deep without his being with us, even putting us on his shoulders when necessary. Sure, he wants us to trust him because he's familiar with the depths of faith, and he knows the cost that faith demands. He knew the enormity of fear, but he trusted his Father to carry him through death, and he wants us to trust him in the same way. Now, right now, our faith is being tested by the fear of COVID-19, by the insureness of our economic future, the safety of our loved ones, by the fatigue of confinement. For the time being, life is not the same. No hugs between friends, no handshakes, masks and gloves everywhere you look, social distancing. These measures are important in helping keep the virus at bay, but they're also extreme. I want to encourage you to stay safe, not in the shallows, but in the depths of your faith. Our church is open every day for adoration from 6 in the morning until 10 at night. You're welcome to come visit our Eucharistic Lord who awaits you. We live stream Mass every day, Monday through Friday at 11:30 in English and at 12:30 p.m. in Spanish, and on Sundays at 10 in the morning in English and at 12 noon in Spanish. Do not let this challenging time erode your faith. Remain prayerful, attend Mass online with your family, Offer the prayer for spiritual communion daily. Teach your children. Call or FaceTime your friends and distant family members. Stay safe, but let your faith be bold, because Christ is risen.